Dead Island 2 is a game that does a lot right, but it also has its faults. It gets pretty repetitive, the story falls somewhat flat, and the game lacks content to keep players coming back long term. Although you could make the argument that it doesn't really matter for this type of game. Overall, the game is pretty good, and with it being Deep Silver's most successful launch ever, it's very likely we'll be getting another Dead Island game in the future. DltaStudios has stated numerous times they really want to make it, so to me it sounds like it's inevitable. With that said, we can only speculate about what the future could bring for this franchise. But today, let's focus on what a Dead Island 3 could look like. First of all, they have to bring over the flesh system from Dead Island 2, as that was one of the game's biggest standout aspects. It'd be nice if there was human combat this time around like the original game, although it'd be extremely disturbing with the flesh system as it is. Maybe as an alternative to add more enemy variety, the virus could mutate and we see zombie animals. Give us that zombie bear that was teased all the way back in 2015, although PETA would have a word to say. Dead Island 2 all in all is a zombie playground, and I feel there are numerous ways to expand upon that big time moving forward. And so here's a big one, simple weather variants. During my time with Dead Island 2, I was very surprised to see that all the locations only had one day and night variation. Concept art for Dead Island 2 proved that with simple little adjustments like fog, it can add a whole different vibe to the area you're exploring. Whether it's rain, storms, fog, there's many possibilities that can add a lot of needed tension, because I will admit, the tension runs out too fast. Dead Island 1 I feel had a better balance of overwhelming the player, but also making it feel satisfying at the same time. Combat, gunplay, all of that is better in Dead Island 2, but for the future I'd love to see them make it a little bit more challenging, make the enemies more unpredictable, have a bigger variety of animations, or just add difficulty options. One of the major complaints for Dead Island 2 was the linearity, which led to some amazing real-world landmarks being recreated, but that also meant backtracking through these familiar locations over and over again gets old after a while. Since it's a zombie playground, give us a skateboard or a bike. Dead Rising did it nearly 20 years ago, and to be honest, the first Dead Rising game is just a really good game to take notes from. The interactability with the world is still extremely impressive today, with you being able to pick up really anything, and I wish we saw more of that in Dead Island 2. You have arcade machines, a bowling alley, all these things that are static. I think having that sandbox freedom to pick up a bowling ball, throw it at a zombie, let them trip on it, could be a ton of fun. Another thing to take note of from Dead Rising is the weapon possibilities. Go above and beyond, go crazy. I think they played it really safe in Dead Island 2, so I think they can go way further. Same goes for the story, as there's lots of room for improvement. A lot of it comes down to who are the playable characters, as their personalities do reflect in the tone of the story, but I think the game could just use more memorable set pieces in general. Moments like the Butcher the Clown boss fight or the death of, spoiler alert, Michael are a few, but I can't really name a ton of moments in the story that really made me go, wow. The mission structure, like the original games, is really just glorified fetch quests, with some missions mixing it up more than others. Add more stakes and consequences to the plot is basically what I'm saying. I feel there never really was a personal narrative in Dead Island 2 and more of just a cliche Hollywood plot, and that's kind of the point. At the end of the day, I'm glad this franchise is back, and hopefully they take advantage of the world they brought to life moving forward. Add more sandbox elements, more freedom, more things to do, and I'm sold. We really have no idea what the future will bring, but there's a lot of ways for them to really improve upon this formula for the next game and make it something truly special. Anyways though, share your ideas down below, as that's it from me for today. Feel free to like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed, and stop by next time.